Rough Draft is the name of the newsletter of the San Francisco Cacophony Society, and no one could think of, well, not proceed. I got involved after I think on the second issue, and I think the name Rough Draft was coined on the first issue, and no one knew what to call it. So that was kind of, it came about that way, and it stayed that way even though it was no longer a rough draft. So I was deeply, deeply involved with Cacophony for most of its existence. It was the center of my life. I was the person that started out the creation of these envelopes, the rough draft envelopes that had unique pictures on the front and often interesting articles on the inside. And the way they started is that there was no money at first, and people would donate boxes of envelopes that had return addresses on them, and we couldn't use them like that. And I had a huge gargantuan collection of images because I was doing collage and was always collecting magazines, and there were pictures that I couldn't use for my art, but there'd be little things that were too bizarre to pass up. So those ended up being the things that would cover up the return address. And then what I would do is, if I knew the person involved, I would try to match the photo to the person. And sometimes I didn't know the person, but I would try to guess. And it was like a mission to like match the photo to that person's essence. And I just looked over this pile of envelopes from the past, and they really do. They're all about gardening, which is for Vanessa, or climbing, or like because of John. It was a really great way to connect. And then, so the images started, and then the little fillers came later, kind of like Cacophony Cracker Jacks. And it was fun. And people to this day, even like a couple of minutes ago, someone said, I still have my envelopes. And that's where I got these. So it was wonderful. And you know, Cacophony kind of wound down right as the internet was starting. So this wouldn't even be possible now. No one would care. I mean, they might, but they wouldn't still have their envelopes. So it was a fortuitous time. And I still have, just, you know, I'm trying to declutter, and I came across this box full of these images that have been trimmed to the size, like thousands, and they're never going to be used. So here's one envelope with gardening tools, and then inside this one envelope, here's an example of stuff that would be included. Here's a found photograph. It says May 29th, 1976. It was a senior ball, like, and then here's a ticket for some kind of weird event. Everyone a loser, it says. And then 9 Frankfurters, creative child games, and Daddy Horchurch, which I don't know anything about, but it ended up in that envelope. And there were times it would be like weird little objects too, but it gradually developed. So when you got Rough Draft, it wasn't just Rough Draft, it was so much more. And that's why this pile still exists, because they were too good to throw away. All right.